Now we are looking at SPI 9.9, which has to do with the periodic table. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started and actually fill in our SPI. Okay, 9.9, what standard we're learning now is use the periodic table of elements to determine the properties of an element. Okay, so this is our big idea. This is our SPI that we need to be able to do when we completely finish with the standard. So first we're going to start with an introduction. So the first word we're going to define is an element. You need to know that an element is a pure substance consisting of the same type of atoms. Okay. So, do people sometimes use the term atoms and elements interchangeably? Yes, they do. The reason why is because atoms are actually the smallest component of an element. Okay, so you have atoms, and if you have the same type of atoms, one single atom or a whole bunch of atoms that are exactly the same, okay, we call these elements. Okay, all right. So to date, somebody may want to check me on this, but to date, I think there have been 118 elements have been discovered, and this number is fluid because they're creating and finding new elements. Okay, all right. So each element has its own box in the periodic table of elements, and we will be working with that very much in the days to come. Okay, but for now, you need to know that each element has a box that has its chemical name in it. It also has its chemical symbol, has its atomic number, okay? And you need to know that its atomic number is its number of protons, okay? Remember, those protons are those positively charged particles, I guess, or pieces, I guess I should say instead of particles, those pieces that are found inside of an atom. Okay, the next we have is the atomic mass. Atomic mass is the number of both protons, remember, which are positive, and also neutrons, which are actually neutral. Neutrons are neutral. So when we go to look at the periodic table, each element has its own box, okay? And this is actually what it looks like. So now we're actually going to label these parts so that you know what you're looking at, okay? And you'll need to keep this handy, okay? So at the very top, sometimes this is centered, sometimes it's pulled to the left, just depends. But this is your atomic number. And remember that your atomic number is actually just the number of what? It can be, we can talk about protons, or we could talk about, actually can be electrons as well. Okay, now, you can see, of course, then we have the total chemical name. Not all periodic tables of elements have this, but some do. Right, then we have the big capital letter, okay, which is the chemical symbol. In this one, it's only one single letter, but sometimes in different elements, they use two letters. The first letter is capitalized and the second letter is lowercase. For example, sodium, capital N, little a, okay. And then at the bottom, we have the atomic mass, which remember, the atomic mass is actually the number of protons and the number of neutrons. And like I said, keep this fun sheet handy because we will be working quite extensively with the periodic table. This is just an introduction. Okay, for now, that's it for our introduction to 9.9.